about gatekeepers, rent seekers, and all that kind of stuff, eventually the people that really matters don't matter anymore. And when we looked into Southeast Asia, one of these key things was digital transactions in Indonesia. So we have your GoPay, GrabPay, and all these things in Singapore. It's the same thing. When we did our research in Indonesia on 4,500 over convenience stores around Jakarta, all the way to Surabaya, all right, the key thing that we found was that, very simple, digital transactions are actually very expensive. Imagine a typical transaction in a convenience store, 7-Eleven, how much will you pay? $3 max, right, US. You will buy 2 drinks, maybe 1 pack of cigarette, and maybe a bun or a bread. All right? For an average of $3, every transaction in Indonesia that goes through digitally takes 60 cents US. Imagine you are the storekeeper or you are the guy using the cashless transaction. Would you even adopt this? So the digital economy that we have today is actually really, really expensive. And that's very simple. Why? Because infrastructure are old, the current networks are redundant. And it's as simple as that. It's not as cheap, better, faster anymore. So through this, we kind of understand that there must be something that could be done in that sense. So ShuttleOne, we started to build in September last year. I'm very happy to say, and my CTO is here, the guy with the camera over there, and the lead developer is here. Just look for us in the ShuttleOne show. We just printed this. To reduce the intermediary from 10 to 3. It's as simple as that, right? So less middlemen, less rent seekers to take a fee off anything, all right? And how do we do that? So we give back value by creating new marketplaces. So we have built from live, that's been live since 2017, a 70,000 node, all right? 70,000 node distributed in 15 over countries globally, all right? That processes the financial transactions that happens on the network. So if you are a POS system, if you are a software provider, you are a point of sales payments processor in that sense, we can reduce your computing processing power by over 30%. Just imagine, if you are doing $1 billion worth, you are paying Amazon, Google, or whatever, $100,000 a year, all right, I can reduce that by 30%. And this is verified by NTU in Singapore. So by creating new marketplaces, with more innovative, with better technology, if I may, we're actually giving back more value to the current digital society, the digital networks and the digital economy in that sense. So something that came about also was that we see this whole blockchain thing happening. What Maker is really trying to do is really changing middleman to middleware. You're taking the bank, and I'm putting it very crudely, into a smart contract. So the Internet of Value in the next 30 years will shift from human intervention, human automation, to actually middlewares in that sense. Smart contracts, programmable layers, overarching, financial services and industry. So because of the grid network, because we can generate revenue from that, we have savings from an efficient allocation of computing power. All right, I'll go through a little bit more because when I talk about the grid network, people are just like, what is that? Say 70,000 grid network, yeah, so what? You see, we'll address that later. And it's all AML and KYC friendly. So basically, you log in with your Facebook, all right? Very simple because Libra is coming. Okay, you log in with your Facebook, you send us a KYC of your passport or your national ID in that sense, and we decentralize it. That's why we're trying to work with Brazil and Singapore to kind of break up the storage of all these things. So we don't own your data. There's really nothing new about that. Okay. So this is native plexus. Native plexus is really something that we envisioned because we wanted to be independent from the processing powers of Visa and MasterCard. Most, if not all, of the crypto payments gateway today, especially those that have a card, will go through Visa and MasterCard. You guys agree, right? You just go back to all your, I won't name the projects here because we are all good friends with the CEOs there. Anybody that's issuing you a crypto card is either a Visa or MasterCard network kind of person. So what this means is that you will still have to process your payments through the incumbent networks. Then why are we doing this whole crypto thing for? So we decided, hey, let's build something, and we built our own processing power today. When we launched in December, we're like, oh man, how are we gonna populate all these things? But essentially, after 6 months, we have over 70,000 of the nodes that join us organically. All right, how we got the nodes to support us, that's a secret sauce, and I need to kill you if I have to share that with you. But we are able to show you even the model, and most of these are mobile IoT devices. It could be your desktop, it could be your tablet, it could be your TV, your smart fridge, your mobile phones, and we can show you all this. These are the models, these are the processing time per task in that sense. And we can even show you the serial number. And these are all independently verified. We can tell you each and every single asset that is on the network today. And as of today, it represents anything between $8 million to $10 million worth of hardware in that sense. And it kind of goes back to what X Square was all about, which is mining. When we started with mining, we realized that we're not going to be the biggest miner in the world. We're definitely not going to be like Bitmain for sure, with AMPU and all that. So we decided to program algorithms. We decided to let people join us, in that sense. So, and we kept switching. We kept switching between coins. What are the most profitable coins of the day, the hour, the minute, the second? And eventually, because of this, we saw this strength, of a democratic network where users are organically and naturally joining us, for whatever reasons. Maybe in search of profits, maybe they just love our network, maybe we give better service. We make it faster for payouts and all that. So it's the same kind of idea that we built this, and it's growing at about 4% every year, all right? And when we saw this, we saw that, hey, now that we have our own processing power, I think it's great. For once, globally in the world, somebody can stand up against the servers of Visa and MasterCard in that sense. So then we looked at it. Where is our market opportunity? As I mentioned earlier on, from middleman to middleware. Actually, a lot of these things that we see today in Singapore, in Vietnam, in Indonesia, around in Southeast Asia, we are digitizing really, really fast. All right. I think in Singapore, probably about 30% of people say that they can live without cash from a day-to-day basis. I live without cash. I use my contactless payments and all this kind of. Even when I was in London, actually, I used my phone to pay for my tube rides. And I think Singapore, if you don't go to the coffee shops, you can stay without cash for for a pretty long time in that sense. So digitizing cash is a really, really big thing. But however, the networks are really, really redundant and it's really inefficient. So we felt that the things that we are doing is really up and coming, and which is why Maker decided to back us, and Maker decided to partner with us here in Southeast Asia. We have arranged for a money exchange license in Indonesia. That's done. We are able to fund a cooperative bank in Indonesia who have 60 million over members. So I'll go through that. Go through what's coming up next. As I mentioned, MakerDAO, who is one of our biggest international partners and backers. So Maker and us are joining forces here and targeting Indonesia first. We have an agreement with BTM. BTM is a community bank in Indonesia. They are very in touch with the rural areas, which is where we like to play our game. Because if we were in the city in Jakarta, we'll fight with Lipo, we'll fight with OVO, we'll fight with Gojek, all these guys. So we decided, hey, why not go to the kampongs first? Go to the village first. That's where the people are. And in our research, it was quite interesting because when we worked with the bank told us that the average village folk had about 80 cents left. After all their costs, their daily necessities, the school fees for their kids, food and this and that. They have only 80 cents left. How much do you have after all your costs every month? Right? Think about that. 80 cents means nothing to an incumbent bank. If you go to DBS and you tell them, hey, I have 80 cents, can I open a bank account? You'll probably be judged by the bank teller. But in Indonesia, in the less developed countries, this is a reality. So when we work with the bank, we're asking them, hey guys, why don't we tokenize their 80 cents? Their 80 cents doesn't have to be under people's pillows anymore. They don't have to be in Milo cans anymore. They don't have to be, kept in their pockets, where they will lose it. Can we aggregate all these 80 cents together? $60 million worth of 80 cents. We tokenize it, we issue DAI, and we let them have a real-time savings rate. So this is something that we are exploring in Indonesia. And on top of that, we are working with Tocoin. Michael didn't do a good job, but they have about 500,000 merchants who are supported behind them. And one of these key things is that the merchants today do not have a good credit rating with the bank. But not having a good credit rating in the bank doesn't matter if you are able to collateralize your reputation. So if you do something good on the Tocoin platform, you're actually rewarded with coins. And these coins are worth something. So if you CDP those coins, which represents your reputation, you take a loan, and if you pay back the loan, we release back the coins back to you. So again, magic internet commodity, creating new value from new marketplaces. This is what we are trying to do. So we have stake in the US. So for people who want to be more exposed to higher risk stuff like I don't know, a 20% return on Cosmos, for example, you can use our mobile network. You can use which is a mobile wallet that you have on your phone, and you can stake it with stake. It's a one button thing, and everything is done. Interestingly, we have Alchemy. Like to also share that in about 3 weeks' time in Singapore, you're able to use the ShuttleOne wallet to pay for ride-hailing cars. All right, I won't mention which ride-hailing company, but you'll see in 3 weeks' time in Singapore, and this will be basically born out of the payments feature of what ShuttleOne is all about. I've mentioned Rarali and Tocoin, and of course BTM in Indonesia. We are also building our off and on-ramp rails in Malaysia, in Thailand. We are trying to buy or acquire or partner up with money exchanges and remittances guys. Because if Maker gives me DAI, DAI is still in USD. Nobody really, unfortunately cares about DAI at this stage. But let's say if we can change DAI to a local currency, that's going to be powerful. If I can change it to USD into a local currency, that's going to be very, very powerful in that sense. All right? So our key revenue drivers are very simple. Decentralized finance, as I mentioned earlier on, I feel truly personally that it's going to be the first bullet that the blockchain and crypto industry fire to the financial industries. No more are we just speculators of Bitcoin or 30% rise and drop, how big our market sizes are going to be, but we're really going to fire the first shot. And I think the decentralized finance community has already started. So DeFi Pulse today, I think we are close to $1 billion in digital assets being locked up, being collateralized, and this is very powerful. And this is only less than a year old, 1.5 years actually. So if Maker started in December 2017, we are now, mid of 2019, 1.5 years, almost $1 billion in assets, and growing. I know of a few decentralized banks, especially those in India. They grew to $4, $5, $6 million in the last 3 months actually. I mean, whether they will survive, whether their smart contracts will be safe and secure, we don't know. But I think a real trend is forming here. And it's a very serious trend, you see. So this is my team. It's quite straightforward. My CTO is there, my lead developer is there. Nat, who is our grid architect, unfortunately has dengue. He can't be around, and there's me. If there's anybody who wants to talk to us, please feel free and all that. We can share with you more about Southeast Asia. So I'm going to wrap up now, but before that, I just need one favor from you guys. I want you guys to take out all your phones and help me a little bit here with my Telegram group. Scan this thing, all right? Don't scan me, don't take my pictures, all right? Scan this thing. Ian, you're not taking out your phone. You're not in the group, I know, all right? Scan this phone and join the Telegram group chat. We are not going to have airdrops. We are not going to have anything free, but just support us. Listen to our announcements and what we're going to do. I think we're going to make some waves soon here in Southeast Asia. And I think, so thank you. And I will leave the presentation. Now we're going to shift to a panel where it's going to be more Q&A. Yeah, just need like 3 chairs actually. Yeah. 3, just take the 3 chairs.